Greg, for the first time since their disastrous meeting at the White House in February, President Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy met again. The two leaders sat down together, albeit briefly, while attending the funeral of Pope Francis on Saturday. The president is continuing to push both Russia and Ukraine to reach a peace agreement and end the ongoing war between the two countries. The White House characterized the meeting as very productive. Afterwards, Zelenskyy posted this on social media. Very symbolic meeting that has potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. Thank you, President Trump. As for Russia, Donald Trump is criticizing President Vladimir Putin for his most recent missile attack on Ukraine, posting on Truth Social Saturday. Quote, "It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently." And just this morning, Putin has reportedly announced a 3-day ceasefire, but it is not scheduled to begin until May 8th, in more than a week from now. According to Reuters, Ukraine's foreign minister responded to the offer by saying, if Russia wants peace, let's do a ceasefire now. Why wait?
Now, during an early morning briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was accompanied by border czar Tom Homan. They gave an update on the first 99 days of Donald Trump's second term. Leavitt said by the end of today, the president will have signed 140 executive orders. As for Homan, he revealed the latest on deportations.
Last number I got was 139,000 deportations. Am I happy with the numbers? Are good. Especially if you look at the ICE numbers. The ICE arrest removals are far beyond Biden. But I read the media. Oh, ICE, the deportations are behind Biden administration. Well, why? Because they counted border removals. We don't have 10.5 million people crossing the border. We don't have border removals. So Joe Biden could have deported 5% of his encounters, and the numbers will still be higher than us on the border removals because we have a secure border, the most secure border in the history of this nation.
The border czar also spoke on Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan's arrest.
I can't believe there's any elected official, and especially a judge, that doesn't believe we should be doing that, and they should be helping us. But I said from day one, you can sit aside and watch, you can argue against us all you want and protest all you want, but when you cross that line, I've said this 1,000 times, when you cross that line to impediment or knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien from ICE, you will be prosecuted.
Federal law enforcement officials allege Dugan misled investigators attempting to arrest an illegal immigrant. FBI Director Kash Patel wrote about that arrest on social media, saying, quote, "We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since, but the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public." In a related story, another judge in Wisconsin is threatening to stop all court hearings after her colleague, Judge Dugan, was arrested. Monica Isham emailed other state judges defending Judge Hannah Dugan on Saturday, saying she doesn't plan on allowing anyone to be taken out of her courtroom by ICE agents and sent what she called a concentration camp. Isham, who has been in her position for less than 2 years, goes on to brag about being the first woman and Native American to serve as circuit court judge, then complains about being called an immigrant, and then alleges that she's faced racism while on that job. She then suggests that she'll start raising bail money for defendants. Her email finishes with, "If this costs me my job or gets me arrested, then at least I know I did the right thing." Dugan faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted of the 2 charges she is facing, including obstruction of justice. Greg.
Washington, D.C. Metro Police and the Secret Service made 2 arrests over the weekend in connection with the theft of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's purse. One illegal immigrant was reportedly taken into custody in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. A second person was arrested Sunday in South Florida. NBC News reports on Easter Sunday, the perpetrator sat at a table next to Noem and her family and kicked her purse from under the table with his foot. The Homeland Security Secretary, who was out with her family for an Easter celebration, had $3,000 in cash, her passport, driver's license, apartment keys, and blank checks taken. The thief, kicking the purse out from under the table, put it under his coat, and left the restaurant. According to authorities, Noem was most likely not targeted because of who she is. Rather, taking the Gucci purse was a crime of opportunity. Our next guest, a retired United States Army Lieutenant Colonel, intelligence officer, is a proud patriot. Lieutenant Colonel Vanessa Hicks Callaway, welcome back to Victory News. Let's get right to it. The subject of illegal immigrant crime and those who defend it are in the headlines today. Listen to Attorney General Pam Bondi describe the actions of Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan helping an illegal alien flee her courtroom.
This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
So what are we making of a judge interfering with the law by aiding an alleged criminal's flight from her courtroom and liberals supporting the judge breaking the law?
Well, there's a lot to make of this. I want to start off with the situation with Judge Dugan. I mean, obviously, according to the Bible, you shall reap what you sow. She made sure that she ensured she ended up being arrested. And so as far as the left is concerned, I actually majored in political science. There are three branches of government: the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. The judicial branch, their job is to interpret the law. If Judge Dugan wants to start creating law so that she can release illegals in violation, then she needs to become a lawmaker. She should run for a legislative branch type job. She is a judge. Her job is to interpret the law. And so we need General Pam Bondi, and we also need Kash Patel to continue what they're doing, which is to hold these lawless activist judges accountable. This is a very good thing that has happened. We cannot allow these judges to continue to make America less safe by releasing criminal felons into our interior.
Now, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker spoke at a human rights campaign, and he's praising his mother for her support of abortion and homosexuality, teaching him to be an activist at a very early age. Here he is.
I have to laugh when I hear the right wing carry on about the dangers of exposing kids to trans people or same-sex couples, because I'm living proof that introducing your kids to the gay agenda might result in them growing up to be governor.
Now, Governor Pritzker encouraged parents to immerse their children in LGBTQ ideology, and they might become a governor. What's your response to that comment?
I think it's completely irresponsible. You have Governor Pritzker. He's basically speaking to his base. What he's saying is absolutely ridiculous. What a governor should be saying to parents is that they need to immerse their children in things like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You know, go ahead and immerse your children in learning about AI so that they could be ready for the demands of the 21st century. What he's saying is basically putting politics above the needs and what's best for his own community. He should be ashamed of himself, because the American people have already spoken. They have rejected that agenda. They did that when they elected President Donald J. Trump.